Hello everyone, it's the season of Halloween, and today I'm going to share with you my top 10 favorite moments of
Resident Evil.
Yes, Resident Evil, also known as Biohazard in Japan, is a video game franchise that has gone on for over 2 decades and has single-handedly revitalized the zombie genre. Films and television with zombies may be very different without Resident Evil in our world. So I'm going to share with you my top 10 personal favorite moments. Feel free to share yours down in the comments below, but to start off with number 10 would be the orc boss fight in Resident Evil 4. I love Resident Evil 4. It's the first game to introduce the action element to this horror genre, but I love that orc fight. It's like an orc from freaking Lord of the Rings, and it's such a surprise when you first face it. Resident Evil 4 has enough scary moments as it is, but this is the first really kind of nerve-wracking boss fight where there's this giant orc out of nowhere. I love the excitement, and it's one of my favorite boss moments in Resident Evil. Resident Evil 4 has such a great story, and it's something else trying to run from this orc, going house to house to get ammo, and basically take this giant orc down single-handedly as Leon S. Kennedy. Above that at number 9 is Resident Evil 3 with the Nemesis introduction. I love it where you get to play as Jill Valentine, and it's the first time you see the Nemesis, this tall, imposing force. He kills somebody, and he's just a force to be reckoned with. It's the first time that we saw this big, kind of like weapon in the Resident Evil universe that was fully a character on its own without being just a zombie. He was this unstoppable weapon that was like the creatures you see infected by the TNG virus. So I really loved seeing the Nemesis for the first time in Resident Evil 3. It's one of the most memorable moments in the franchise history. Above that at number 8 is the Resident Evil 2 opening. I love the opening. You get to play as Claire or Leon, and it is just crazy. It's been replicated in the movies. I love that police chase, you meeting Claire, and this truck driver getting infected with the T-virus. That whole chase sequence was so great back in 1997. The cinematics was so cinematic. I mean, I loved how real that looked back then. Now, it looks a bit dated like a PS1 video game, but when it came out, that was a pretty cool, realistic opening scene and was my introduction to Resident Evil in the video games. I missed Resident Evil 1, so Resident Evil 2 is my introduction, and that was such a fantastic opening. Not only on Disc 1, but Disc 2 as well. Whether you play as Leon or Claire, it was great seeing that from both their perspectives and when they come together for a brief time before being separated. Such a wonderful introduction to Raccoon City, pretty much just on the brink of destruction. After that, at number 7, I love the Leon Krauser fight in Resident Evil 4. Krauser is an annoying bad guy. He's a foe for Leon S. Kennedy as he's trying to protect the president's daughter, Ashley. And I love this game, the Las Plagas, but he's a creature that's a boss fight, but I love the button mashing in the cutscenes. It's one of the earliest forms of that in cutscenes where you actually have to interact with the cutscene and fight him in a knife fight. I just love that entire confrontation. That was such a great sequence in the video game and one of the most memorable boss fights that I've played in the franchise. And it really shows you how badass Leon S. Kennedy is as a character. Above that would be the Resident Evil 4 laser room. Oh my god, the first movie had a laser room, but this one was crazy. I loved doing all the maneuvers and the button mashing to go through the lasers as Leon. Such a crazy cool sequence. Very much inspired by the first movie, but still, it's a cool moment in Resident Evil and something very different, a different challenge other than a zombie or a creature, so to speak. And I love that ending where you have the choice to basically just chill out on the throne room for a little bit. It's such a funny scene and provides a little bit of levity and the intense suspense of the video game. Overall, just one of my favorite little tiny moments of Resident Evil 4. Above that at number 5 is the Resident Evil 6 college escape scene. Oh my god, the president being affected with the virus and becoming a zombie, you having to put him down and escape, is just crazy. I love the beginning of Resident Evil 6. It's so intense. I was in college when I played that game, so it provided a sense of hysteria for me and just dread seeing a college campus infected by zombies and Leon in a police car just trying to get out. I love it. It's like the first 2 games where you get like a regular location and just have it affected by zombies, whether it's a mansion or a city. It provided that level of just chaos at the beginning of the game and something so realistic that it just is affected with zombies. It's a perfect opening for like a zombie movie. Oh man, I love that beginning scene, and the button mashing and driving just really provided a cinematic level to the game. Above that at number 4, I have 2 moments tied. One being the Resident Evil 5 Chris and Wesker fight. Yeah, they recreated this in Resident Evil Afterlife, but it's such a badass fight to show you how deadly Albert Wesker is. He's one of my favorite villains of the Resident Evil franchise, and Chris Redfield fighting him, the button mash, and everything about it is just so damn awesome. Very Matrix-like. Oh my gosh. That game has enough horror elements in the daylight, but that's one of the few action moments that truly delivers, and I love it. It's one of the best boss fights. Before the main lava fight, I like it because Wesker's just Wesker in the leather jacket, moving really fast and just doing some really crazy stuff. Definitely one of my favorite moments in the newer Resident Evil games. Also tied with that is Resident Evil 6, where Leon and Chris meet face to face for the first time. They're both chasing after Ada Wong, and they basically disagree about the danger she implements on the crew and everyone. So, like, Leon and Chris get into a minor scuffle, and I love that scene because it shows you that these are two powerful, strong protagonists in the series meeting for the first time, and they kind of clash. And kind of a fan service moment. I mean, it's like, what if Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone met each other and clashed? Or like Vin Diesel and The Rock in Fast and Furious. It's pretty much like that. You have these two badass characters in the video game franchise meet. Such a cool fan service moment, and I love the cinematic to it, the gameplay leading up to that meeting. Everything about that scene was perfectly executed, and it's one of my favorite moments. After that, at number 3 is the final boss fight of Resident Evil 7. Resident Evil 7 went back to its horror roots and was much more like the first game, where it's just in this house. It's scary, but that ending fight was just crazy. A little girl there, she's much more powerful than she looks, and that old woman happened to be her. And you have to like fight her, she grows into this giant thing, and then boom! Outside the house, it's just all first person view. You're outside the house and it's this giant creature. Oh my god, I love that ending. Such a powerful moment. So many moments leading to that awesome epic showdown. And it's definitely one of my favorite ending boss fights in the Resident Evil franchise. I really loved it. That's the moment where it met the scares, the terror, with the action and adrenaline, and I loved it. Resident Evil 7 is definitely an underrated return to form for the franchise, and who could forget the questions brought up with Chris Redfield showing up at the end and helping you out. Overall, one of my favorite finales of Resident Evil in recent years. After that would be the first time you see the Licker in Resident Evil 2. Whether you're Claire or Leon, I love how you're in the Raccoon City Police Department and you look up and you just see the Licker on the ceiling and it comes down and you have to face it. Oh my god, such a scary moment, but also the first time that we saw a crazy looking creature like that. And above that, at number 1, it's a minor moment. There's so many great moments in the Resident Evil video game franchise, but my favorite moment is still the introduction of the zombie dogs in Resident Evil 1. Oh my god, you're in the mansion there, and the first time those things pop out are crazy. Resident Evil 2 has a very similar moment where they come through the windows. And I remember playing Resident Evil 2. My brother and I were playing in the dark, and it scared the hell out of us. But Resident Evil 1 is also just as effective because you don't see it coming. You're just exploring, minding your own business, and then boom, zombie dogs come out. Dogs are man's best friend. And what happens when they're infected with the T-virus? They're zombie killing machines, and it is scary. It's a minor moment, but still one of the most memorable moments in Resident Evil history, one of my personal favorite moments of the franchise. Anyway, those are my top 10 personal favorite moments of the Resident Evil video games. Feel free to let me know your favorite moments down in the comments below. And yeah, here's some videos you can enjoy on my channel. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos. Don't forget to hit that bell for notifications. Have a nice day.